Alrighty guys, so we're going to continue on the theme of advanced arm wrestling techniques tonight, and what we're going to be talking about is laying traps and or dead spaces, to use a Conor McGregor sort of term there. I love that man, the way he fights, the way he analyzes his opponents. It's not about being more physical than them, it's all about being better than them, being 3 steps ahead of them, leading them into errors and then capitalizing on those errors. So for me as an arm wrestler, I take that same approach, that same goal is in mind for me when I arm wrestle. So how do we do that? What is the theory on it? What do I mean when I say laying traps and dead spaces in an arm wrestling capacity? And how does that shape my training and the way I behave on the table? Okay, so for me, as you know, I'm someone who believes that technique matters more than strength alone. Yes, I acknowledge to all the people watching, I acknowledge that strength is paramount. It is simply a must. You cannot be a great arm wrestler without being strong. We understand that. But truly, I believe strength is something that comes in time, inevitably. If you spend enough time in the gym, enough time on the table, no matter really which way you train, you are going to become strong in time. That's a given. That's the easy part. The hard part is becoming good at this craft, is becoming a master, somebody who can really see and analyze this sport to a degree beyond that of everybody else around them. The effect of that is what I believe to be the sort of holy grail of arm wrestling, and the effect of that is you can beat people that are stronger than you. Okay, so I've got a few good runs on the board with being able to beat people that are stronger than me. Like, I'll give you an example. I recently beat a fellow named Marcus Atirai. He's only been arm wrestling for a year and a half. He's 155 kilos. He's an athlete in his own discipline. He's I believe, a national champion within the world of MMA. And he's, like I said, he's been arm wrestling for about a year and a half. In terms of his raw strength and power, if you were to measure his individual strengths relative to mine, he's stronger all across the board. He's stronger on every single movement. Yet it is his lack of understanding of the sport that allows me to lay traps and dead spaces that result in me gaining leverage, him losing leverage, me getting the victory, even though he is stronger than me. Compare that to my match against Justin Bishop. Justin Bishop, again, he's not as strong as Marcus Atirai. Justin Bishop will admit that himself. He met Marcus and he was like, holy dooly, look at the size of that guy. He's 3 of us. Justin Bishop is not as strong as Marcus Atirai, but he is technically aware. He's a great arm wrestler. He feels on the table what his opponent wants to do, and he lays his own traps and dead spaces, creates opportunity, leads you down the wrong path. And therefore, even though I was able to beat Marcus Atirai, I wasn't able to beat Justin Bishop, even though Marcus is far stronger than Justin. And the reason that is because Justin's awareness brings him up to here, and Marcus's lack of awareness brings him down here. Anyway, that's a bit of the groundwork on what we're talking about here. So down to the crux of it, laying traps, laying dead spaces, and how do you train for that in particular. The way I train for this, guys, is a very simple method. I get on the table with people that are weaker than me. And with the people that are stronger than you, it's a bit harder to do. But get on the table with someone that's weaker than you. Okay? Give them the time and space. Okay, and stop being a bully. Stop just saying, I'm too strong for you, what are you going to do about it? Give them the space. Within your own arm, go to about 60%, 70%. Open your arm up and use your hand. The more you use just your hand to stop someone, the more your brain is going to automatically start to understand what your hand needs to do in order to get a stop. Now, because you are stronger than this person, you can manipulate, you can experiment, you can put a certain block in place and see how they react to that block. Naturally, if you put a certain block on, say, an outside move and you lower your arm angle, it's going to tempt them to come in. Likewise, if you put a block on the inside move, if you've got this down pressure, you do this carve slightly, and you kind of soften your fingers up, it's going to tempt them to go out. Okay, so the point being is when you're arm wrestling against someone weaker than you, you can really experiment. You can really learn. It's really important to be fluid and be kind of like a rubber band when you're arm wrestling with someone weaker than you, because otherwise they're going to quickly not want to arm wrestle with you because you're just being some big bully sitting in the middle of the table and not allowing them to get any value at all. But there's huge value in arm wrestling with people that aren't as strong as you because you can learn so much. You can do this with people that are stronger than you. It is a little bit more difficult. You need a bit more experience, and you need to be able to communicate well with your training partner as well. But anyway, the whole point of this video is to talk about traps and dead spaces and why they are so valuable. For me, I would prefer to get strong on the little things that create traps and dead spaces than I would be to get strong on my static hold or on my pec drive or something like that. For me, base power, it's going to come anyway. I'm not going to spend too much time working on it. I know that this is one of my big theories that a lot of people think I'm getting wrong, but I'm a firm believer in it and I'm happy to stick by it. And I reckon my progression within the sport in the past and my progression within the sport in the future will be an indicator that what I'm onto here is working. So keep a track of my progress and let's see if I progress faster or slower than what you think I will. But anyway, I don't think getting strong in the big things matters most. Yes, it matters, don't get me wrong, it matters, but that's inevitable. It happens in time. I don't need to really focus on it. Just being on the table, being an arm wrestler in general strengthens those things. Okay, what people who spend all their time focusing on this forget to focus on the things that matter most. So these traps and dead spaces. What I mean, if I can scare someone, in a broad sense, if I can scare someone with inside pressure, it opens up the door for me to go outside. And likewise, if I can scare someone with a big load like that on my outside, it's going to open up the door for me to come in and take all the advantages inside. Now, that is a very broad sense. Okay, yes, outside threat creates inside opportunity. Inside threat creates outside opportunity. The good thing is, there are a million things in between those. It's like we've heard Devin say, every angle that your hand can do is an opportunity. It's a weapon. It's something that you can do to bait your opponent. How much you load, whether you float forward, float to the right, carve in hard, get on your tricep, get on the point of your elbow, get on the outside, get on the inside, all these different movements and the subsequent positions of your hand and wrist create threat. They tell a story to your opponent. Now, generally speaking, I would say the story that you want to tell your opponent is never really going to be where you're going to attack. Now, the more advanced an arm wrestler, the harder it's going to be to tell them a story. A new arm wrestler, super easy to tell them a story. Just say, "Hey, look, I'm loading inside," and they will respond to it. They'll match up that pressure if they can, and they won't even be ready to hold on to your top roll. And you load this up, and then whack, you hit them with the top roll, and it's game over. But the more advanced an arm wrestler gets, the harder that is. So, in the finer arts of laying traps and dead spaces, comes down to the awareness of your hand. Okay, it comes down to you plugging in. The theory that I go with is when I grip somebody, I think of my hand as like downloading their data. I grip in and I rarely load. Okay, for me, I load within a false load. And what I mean by that is I never want to show my opponent truly where I'm going. Okay, I will load with about 60% of my static ability at any one time. If I'm against someone stronger than me, who's super strong, I'll load with even less. I might be loading with with supination threat, but actually putting all my eggs in the basket of pronation. And it's really important that you don't allow your opponent to see that, because if they see it and they actually do know where you're going to go, they'll be ready for it, and they'll start to lead and bait you. Look, in general, it's just really important to be the person dictating the angles. If you're dictating the angles, you're in control. You're fighting the fight on your terms rather than fighting on theirs. So I think a lot of what I've said here hasn't really got to a massive point, and in an advanced arm wrestling sort of sense, I haven't really nailed what I was thinking here perfectly. But look, I guess what I am trying to say, guys, is that laying traps and dead spaces is what I believe, anyway, to be one of the most critical components of becoming an advanced arm wrestler. It's one of the most critical components to be able to beat people that are stronger than you. And I have plenty of runs on the board. Go and look at all my videos I have plenty of runs on the board where I have beaten people far stronger than me. I'm not that strong, but the people I hang with in terms of competitive arm wrestling at tournaments, now training is different to tournaments, keep that as in note as well. The people that I hang with in tournaments are far, far stronger than me. And yeah, that's the way it's going to go if you can adapt and understand how to use deception, traps, dead spaces to your advantage. Anyway guys, if you have any specific questions, hit me up. I'll do my best to answer them. But other than that, thanks for watching.